Hey guys, Ashley from Mad Lemmings here. Welcome to another review of a cool tool that's been released not too long ago called Thrive Leads. I've been wanting to give you a quick review of this tool for a while and haven't had any time, but today is the day. So let's jump in and have a look at Thrive Leads. What you can see here is the main dashboard of Thrive Leads, which is on the side of the admin panel. And the main area you see here is the statistics. I've cleared most of mine out from past jobs I've had, but you can see one that I had running here recently, which was the homepage pop-up. And you can see the statistics here of the particular area that you've been showing the pop-up, which is called the lead group. I'll explain a bit more on that in a second, and you can open that up and see which kind of opt-in form you were running there and how that was converting, and if you had multiple kinds of opt-ins running on the same page, you can also see their conversion rates here. So it gives you a really good overview of the statistics, what's going on your different pop-ups or opt-ins I should say, in different areas. So this one was running quite well, 4.5%, and you can run split tests on here very easily, which I'll quickly show you later as well. The first thing you normally need to do though is add a lead group, which is actually the definition of where the particular opt-ins are going to appear on your website. So for example, if you want one for the homepage only, you add a lead group for the homepage. If you want one for blog posts, you can add a lead group for blog posts or specific categories of blog posts, or however you want to divide up your opt-ins. You might want a pop-up just for your whole website. Then it's really easy. You make one lead group, and actually it's a little bit silly that you need to do that, but that's how they specify where things will appear on your website. So you need to create a lead group first off. So let's just make one for a specific page on my blog so that I don't break anything that I'm running. We'll just call this the specific opt-in. Doesn't matter what it's called, it's just so that you can see it here and you know which one it is. So give it a meaningful name so that you can find it again, especially if you're making multiple groups. And once you have that, you'll see on the far right here, it'll remind you that you need to set the targeting, and the targeting is where it will appear. So if we click on that, we'll get a display targeting area, and then you have different tabs here you can jump into. You can go to basic settings, homepage, blog page, all posts, error page, and so on. You can go to categories and tags and specify where it appears, or you can go to specific posts, which I'll do here. You have here, for example, a recent post that I had, 4 reasons your SEO sucks, which maybe it does, I'm not sure. And we'll click on that. And so this opt-in, or whatever opt-ins I assign to this group, will only appear on that particular blog. I can click other ones and it'll appear on there as well. So we save that and we're done. We can always come back and change this later, so don't worry if you make a mistake. But that's now set that this specific opt-in will only appear on that one blog post. So what we do next is we click on the bar anywhere we want, and it opens it up and shows us the options we have for different kinds of opt-ins. I'll just quickly run through them so you know what they are. The ribbon is the little thin bar that appears at the top of the page and stays there. That's really good for new offers or things that are going on your website. Next you have the lightbox, which is also known as a pop-up because it blocks out the background and just brings a box. Used to be shown for showing photographs, which is why it was called a lightbox. Now it's also used for opt-ins and email signups, so you can put in a particular pop-up, so that's quite common. The widget is the one that appears in the sidebar, and if you create one of those, you also have to go into the widgets area under appearance and add in widgets into your sidebar. It'll still only appear where you've assigned it, but you need to add that in to the sidebar, or all the widgets in for every single one you've created actually. So if you add a widget in the homepage pop-up and the specific pop-up and the SEO pop-up, which are my 3 lead groups here, you need to go in and add those widgets in every case, but they will still only appear where you've told it to show them, so don't get confused by that. The next you have the post footer, which is when you have an opt-in appearing at the end of every blog post. You have the slide in, which is the little box that comes in from the side. Or it doesn't have to be the side, you can actually specify that. You have an in-content opt-in, which is when something appears in the middle of the content, and the screen filler lightbox, which is again another kind of lightbox. So they're the main ones that you have. Let's just make a lightbox because that's quite a common one, just to show you how this works. So you have here, you have to click on the add button on the right hand side and give it a name, create a form. So let's just call this the lightbox for the specific. Doesn't matter what you really call this. You don't ever really need to look for these names. It's just shown in here on the left hand side. And what you see here now is you can control when all the different opt-ins appear. Each kind of opt-in has its own options available, and the ones that are relevant for a pop-up are when it appears. So you can have it displaying immediately, which I find annoying for pop-ups, so I always change this. And I make mine load either on exit intent, which is when the mouse goes towards the edge of the browser, is an interesting one, or a specific period of time, which usually converts better, and usually 10 to 15 seconds is pretty good. On 1 second, or when the page first loads, I find a little bit annoying. You haven't even landed on the page and the pop-up's really bugging you. People don't like pop-ups, so if you're going to use them at all, and they are very, very high converting, you'll get a lot of emails through pop-ups, try either the exit intent or 10 to 15 seconds. And another good thing to do on pop-ups is to not show them every single time. If the user's seen them once and they didn't opt in, don't bug them again. I usually say for 30 days. You can type in 30 here or use the slider. I find typing it in to be more accurate and fast, so we'll just do that. And then you can determine the kind of animation you have, and it shows you below it what it looks like, gives you a quick demonstration. So you can, I like the zooming in one, which kind of grabs people's attention as well. So we'll use that. So they're the basic settings for the pop-up. Now we have to design the pop-up. But of course you don't need to design it yourself. They give you a bunch of templates which are now loading, and here they are. And we can just choose one we like. Background image, little top bar, a side picture, a little picture, no picture at all. Let's just choose one without a picture, and you see the green box here where I've chosen and the tick, and then you click choose template, and it loads for you. And we can just leave that as is, or we can change it a little bit. You can change the text, get my latest tips and tricks, sign up below. Usually I provide a lead magnet, which is like an ebook or something, a giveaway, so I usually have something to entice people, and I usually show a little PDF picture next to it, but in this case I'm not going to do that. And you see here the Thrive editor, which comes with all the Thrive products. You can do bolds and color. We can change the color of this text to red, for example. Doesn't look great, but anyway, you can center all of this text, for example, like that. Get rid of the minus sign and the full stop. We can make this bigger, for example. We can make it 50, and then you see it's actually gotten too big. We have to put a line break in there. Doesn't look good, etc., etc. You can play around with it all. I shouldn't have changed it all to 50, and we can actually use the undo and undo some of that stuff and go back to what we had. And the last thing you need to do on every opt-in is click on the subscribe button and then go to the autoresponder code and actually paste in your HTML autoresponder code from either the MailChimp embed code, for example, or I'll get my developer to do this HTML from Aweber, depending on which particular email program you're using. You have to go and get their form that you create there. You have to create a list, you have to create a form, you have to copy the form code and just dump it in here, and Thrive will do all the rest, and you can generate the fields. And if you've got 3 or 4 fields, it'll automatically add them in here. You can say which ones are mandatory. You can say what text appears behind the fields. These are just auto created, and I'm not going to fill that in with you here. You can change the margin and the padding and the color of the buttons and all of this stuff. To get to the button, you click here and then you click Edit Component and Submit Button. And then, for example, we can change the actual subscribe now to subscribe here. And then we can also change something like the color, which I'm actually having trouble finding. There it is here. We can change that to a blue button. So it's very easy to edit this stuff, and this is done. And we can just click the Save button. And that's already created. So now if I go to and there you go. You can see the pop-up there exactly as we created it, and we can close it and it won't appear again. So some other ones that you can create the ribbon, for example. I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. So you've got some different ribbon styles here. Obviously there's not as much to style on a ribbon. And you can change the way the ribbon works, the opt-in, the buttons, when it appears, and so on. Displays immediately, displays all the time. Obviously that's probably how you would want it. You could have it display only occasionally, position top. You could also probably have it down the bottom. That's another option. So you've got a lot of flexibility with these kinds of opt-ins. And again, once they're running, you'll get the statistics appearing here. And you can actually do split tests against these kinds of things. So for example, if I wanted to split test this lightbox that we created, you just go in and clone the lightbox. And then you go in and obviously you change only one significant thing on it. So you could change, for example, a lot of people say the button color is great, but often I find the text is a lot more important. So what you're offering or how you're actually talking about it is far more important than the button text. You could try the button text. If you like the button text, I don't mean the button color. The button text is obviously quite important as well. The color not so important, but it has to be a contrasting, obvious color, at least within my experience. So going back here, what you do is you create the clone, you make your slight changes to the form, the text or the button or whatever you're doing, you save it, and then you can just do an A/B test between these two copies of each other. And you can do start A/B test. You have to give your test a name and say automatically assign winner, or you can do it manually if you like. And then you set that test to running, and then after you get enough statistics to make sure that it's 100% certain which one has won, and that is actually quite a lot of visits to get to that point, it'll assign the best one to the one that shows up all the time. Otherwise it'll constantly split it 50-50 randomly actually to the different visitors. So if you go and visit your own website, sometimes you'll see one, sometimes you'll see the other. So it's really, really quick to do split test. You can split test every part of every lead group. So you can split test the slide-ins, you can split test the pop-ups, the ribbons, everything on every single kind of form. So that's really easy to do. And again, you'll see the statistics of which one's working and which one's not. And you can make a decision earlier on if you like, which one won the test. If you don't want to wait for enough statistics to come in, you can make the decision yourself. And another area you have in here is the two-step lightboxes, which is a new thing they've introduced where you have two different ways of opting in. So the first thing that appears is a question that says, are you interested in or would you like more traffic? And then you click yes, and then you say, okay, opt in here. So the first step is answering a question, and the second step is signing up. And Neil Patel uses that on QuickSprout quite a lot. You'll find that quite useful. And another one you've got is the short codes. You can add your own opt-in forms. For example, I have one here, an inline opt-in. So let's just have a quick look at it. You can make your own form. And then what you do is you take the form, so I'll go back to the dashboard and show you. You take this code and you paste it wherever you want within your blog post, and it'll automatically display this form that you've created over here. So that's really cool. You can make really nice looking forms, and there's obviously a lot of different templates you can use, and then you can put that straight into your code wherever you like. So once you've made the form, you can use it everywhere, and you can put it in the middle of your blog posts or wherever you like, which is really cool. I sometimes code those things by hand, but you can also use Thrive for that. So as you can see, this is really simple, really powerful. You can put different kinds of opt-ins with different kind of conditions. So when they appear, where they appear, how often they appear, what pages they appear on, what the statistics are, what the best tests are, which ones are working the best. And all of this is only $59. It's really cheap. It's a one-off cost. And if you compare it with something like lead pages, which is a lot more expensive, I think the minimum is about $37 a month or something like $150 a year. It's a really cool tool as well. Obviously you get landing pages, which you don't with this. You have to also buy the Thrive Content Builder, which is another $59, but that's a lifetime cost. Whereas lead pages is a constant cost. And even if you get something like Opt-in Monster, it's more expensive. It's not as cool, I think, not as powerful, not as easy to use. It's very similar, but this is really one of the best tools I've found for that. So I hope you got some value out of this tutorial and review. And if you've got any questions, certainly jump over to madlemmings.com and I'll help you out with those. See you on the other side.